Hey everyone, Rick here, and I'm back again with the return of my honest thoughts. Welcome back, everybody. I apologize if I've been gone far too long with these. Things have been getting pretty hectic right now, and I'll explain that at the end of this video. So this isn't going to be a long honest thoughts, and this won't feature any footage or images from what we're about to talk about, which is the live-action Kim Possible original Disney film. Try saying that 5 times fast. I just got done watching it, and I want to talk about it now before I forget the points I'm going to bring up. So, right off of the bat, yes, like you all, I was a huge fan of the original cartoon. It was easily one of the best modern day live action. I'm sorry, it was easily. See, I got live action in my head. It was easily the best Disney animated show of the modern 2000s, right next to Recess, in my opinion. It was great at giving us great characters, great action, and making everything feel relatable with its high school element. It didn't try to be hip or trendy. No, instead, it definitely was going for that high school timeless feel. And I definitely think to this day, it is hands down one of the best Disney cartoons ever made, and it paved the way for such great shows to continue today, such as Gravity Falls, Star vs. Forces of Evil, DuckTales, and Milo Murphy's Law, you name it. So, I have been anticipating this film, and I think we all have, regardless of the good or the bad expectations we have for it. So, with all that being said, how was this film? It was an average Disney Channel film. That's it. How was everything? Okay. It was forgettable, but it was okay, I guess. And no, it did not ruin my childhood because it's impossible for it to do that. But I'm just going to go over this and break it down analytically what I thought. So first of all, let's just go ahead and get with the obvious. Yes, it was mostly impossible for them to capture the essence of Kim Possible and bring it into live action. Now, not with the acting or the writing, but with the stunts and the action. But I'll get into that later. For now, let's just talk about the acting. Now, when I heard that the original actors, Christy and Will, gave their blessing to these two new actors, Sadie Stanley and Sean, I was like, okay, they look like the characters, they have the chemistry down, and I was looking forward to seeing how they would carry this film. And when we actually get into this film, there are a total of 6 main characters, and only 5 of them are kind of considered the highlight, but in my opinion, only 4 of them are the highlights for me. Now, as I said, Sadie did a pretty decent job as Kim. You can definitely tell that she had that passion, and just overall, she did a great job of capturing what Christy brought to the role. However, I think the script really needed to be better, because throughout this film, every time Sadie was trying to be Kim Possible, you can really tell that she was stretching for it. And I really think that they needed to pretty much give her something more to do, to have her moment as Kim Possible, instead of trying to be something that Christy had already done. But that's just my opinion. Sean as the new Ron, I thought he was pretty good. He captured the essence perfectly of what Will had done, and it literally feels like the cartoon and the live action counterparts of Ron are interchangeable, because you can literally put them or swap them around and you get the same character. So I really did like that. His jokes were funny, he was definitely likable, and every time he was on screen, I did crack a smile. So props to Sean and his great performance as Ron. Now, of course, you have a cameo, or I should say a 12-minute cameo from Patton Oswalt as Professor Dementor, and it's great to see him reprise his role in live action. You can tell he was having so much fun with this role, like he did so many years ago, and I was just so happy to see him. It would have been awesome if he was one of the main villains of this, but no, he was only there for a couple minutes, then he was captured. So, yeah, but hey, it was great to see him anyway. And now the best for last, Dr. Draken and Shigo. So Todd and Tyler definitely did a better job of capturing the characters than I thought. Now, they definitely have the essence and a passing resemblance to the characters that they're portraying, but what I really like is how they had it down. With Draken, you had the great comedic moments and also the seriousness he would have here and there, and yeah, he doesn't fully turn blue, although he has some blue covering him, so yeah, again, guess they can't paint him. And Tyler as Shigo, she had the spunk, she had the sarcasm, and she definitely was the live action Shigo. So I enjoyed her performance as the character, and I just love seeing these both of these actors and characters interact with one another. I legitimately had fun with them. Now, of course, there is Rufus, who does appear in this film, but he only has a few scenes, and yes, he is voiced again by Nancy Cartwright, but if you're expecting him to have the same sentences or great interactions he would have with Ron, then you're gonna be a little disappointed, because Rufus only makes a couple of sounds and that's it. So, yeah, it is kind of unfortunate. And then, of course, how could I forget, you have this new character introduced for this movie alone, and that's Anna. So, yeah, I may be mispronouncing or misremembering her name, but I'm just going to call her Anna because I legitimately did not care about this character. And she's supposed to be the new best friend for Kim, and then, of course, it turns out that, I'm going to spoil this in 3, 2, 1, she's a twist henchman for Draken and Shigo. Yeah, I did not care about it. Her performance was okay, although what's funny about it is she is wearing the same outfit Kim wore in season 4 of the original show, so yay, I guess? Yeah, the acting from these main characters were pretty good to pretty decent. I'm sorry, from pretty decent to pretty good, and I enjoyed them. The supporting characters were okay. Of course, you have Kim's family, which her mom is played by Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so that's kind of cool. The twins, Jim and Tim, they're pretty good. They only have, like, one scene of dialogue, so, yeah, they're fine, I guess. And they actually did cast twins to play them, so cool. The rest of Kim's high school supporting characters are just fine. That's just it. All the characters in this movie are just there. They have nothing else to do, and they do nothing to make them stand out. So, yeah, that's just it. So overall, the casting was pretty above average to actually pretty good. I would say they needed more to work with script-wise, but I definitely think it was a good step in the right direction of capturing what we loved about the original characters and bringing them to live action. But speaking of action, let's go ahead and talk about the action, the choreography, the cinematography, just all of the little technical things. So, for those of you who remember, Kim Possible did have action in it. It was an action cartoon with some bit of characters and relatability in it. And the best thing about the action was the fact that Kim was kind of a superhuman and a human pendulum. She was doing physics-defying flips like it was nothing. So trying to capture that style of action and put it into this new medium, it was very daunting, and you can really tell how staged it is. It's not even funny. If I were to sum up the different varieties of action in this film, it would go like this: punches, flips, backflips, cartwheels, grappling hooks, and slow motion, and finally, the best for last, kip-ups. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you get bow staff fighting, but yeah, that's the action in this film. And if it sounds bland and uninteresting, that's because it is. This is poorly choreographed, and the stunt work is just so obvious. Disney could have invested so much money into this action to make it movie qualities, but they didn't. Instead, they chose to keep it very low budgeted. And my God, does it show. I have seen better choreography and stunt work in other live action TV shows or films, and they're much better than this. I'm not even joking. You could have a drinking game with how many times they do these flips and slow motions. And by the way, I just love on how the best thing to make this action stand out from the original is them copying the certain transitions or effects that they would do in that, while also having Kim use a grappling hook. Which, yeah, Kim uses a grappling hook in the original, but the amount of time she uses it in this film, it's literally crazy. So yeah, the action was just bland, uninspiring, and I literally did not care for it. The only good action sequence is one they actually took the time in rehearsing months and months for, and when it finally plays out, it's pretty decent, and it's only a small scene with Kim learning bow staff fighting from her grandma. That's it. Yeah, it's pretty uninteresting. And now let's talk about the writing. Okay, when it was announced that the original creators would come back for this and actually write this, I was optimistic. I thought maybe that could be good. Maybe they would continue that same level of quality writing that they gave us in the original show and somewhat in Big Hero 6, the TV series. But no, they didn't do that. Instead, this writing is poorly paced. It feels pandering. It feels like it is a Disney original film. That's the best way I can describe it. The script overall is poorly paced, sloppy, and overall it just feels uninspired and predictable. You can literally predict certain things and where they will eventually go before it's even revealed to you, and that's not good. Excuse me. I literally was calling stuff before they ever happened. I am dead serious. When we find out that Kim's new best friend it actually betrayed her, and she's, spoiler alert, again in 3, 2, 1, she's a robot, I'm like, yeah, I kind of don't care. And the worst thing about the writing in this is how they had to dumb Kim down. Kim was definitely a bit smarter than this, but what they also do is give Kim a big ego. In this film's opinion, what defines Kim as a character is not her as a character and how she is with people. No. It's what she does. It's the fact that she can do anything. That's it. And you know, they touched on this a long time ago, and they showed us, no, Kim is not a great character just because she can make the impossible possible. That's not why we like her. That's not why she grows as a character throughout the series. But this film definitely decides to dumb her down, and whenever she's told that her new best friend betrayed her, she literally has to be told 3 times. Twice by the person, and once by looking at evidence and piecing certain things together in her head. It's almost as if they really did not care. I swear, I don't know if this was their choice or Disney's choice, but this Kim Possible does not feel like a fully realized 3-dimensional character. She just feels like someone who has a giant ego because she can do what she can do. And I'm not saying she's selfish, I'm just saying that's not Kim, and that's just my opinion. And overall, this writing was just bland. I'm sorry. I tried to get invested into it. I tried to really give this script the benefit of the doubt, but as somebody who is learning how to get better at script writing, I know it's blasphemous for me to tell the creators how to write a script, but I can tell you one thing. If your older episodes are better than something that you put into this film, then you know you have a problem. It's just laughably predictable and bland, and I think it's best enjoyed with somebody else, because when you have to watch this and analyze it and look for all of these little cons and details that they got wrong, it just makes your viewing experience just so challenging. And yeah, it was just poorly executed. So yeah, overall, when you wrap it all up and when you get right down to it, look, I'm glad that Kim Possible is back, and this could potentially lead to something good happening, like a revival of the franchise. But if this is the way that it had to happen, then I feel very, very bad, because there were tons of ways you could have brought the show back. Or hell, you could have done something else. The fact that this takes place before the show, or I'm sorry, the fact that this goes in so many different directions, it wants to be in continuity with the show because of all the Easter eggs it has, but it also wants to try and be its own thing, so it kind of has its own identity crisis, but it mainly goes for the former instead of the latter. And by the time this film ends, it's sequel baiting us. They literally set up for a sequel, which they probably know it'll happen, or maybe they'll just greenlight it anyway. So yeah, this film was just bland and so forgettable. I legitimately was, by the end of it, I was just like, okay, that's it. It's done. I wanted to go and watch an actual episode or So the Drama, because those are 10 times better than this. So with all that being said, with decent acting to mediocre action and bland, forgettable, lazy writing, this film is, in my opinion, a C-. That's what it gets, because it tried to be something that could honor the original, but at the same time, it just makes you wonder, why didn't they just make an animated film that picks up right after season 4? Why didn't they just make a new comic book series? Why didn't they just make a reboot? Anything would have been better than this. But that's just my opinion. And if you enjoyed this film, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel ashamed for liking something. Look, I'm just a guy who is here to pick something apart. Did this film ruin my childhood of Kim Possible? No, because I can go back and watch the original anytime I want. And I think this does a great job of making us all appreciate the original and showing us how well it still holds up to this day, and probably will till the end of time. But that's just me. So with all that being said, yeah, guys, that was my honest thoughts on Kim Possible, the live-action movie. It was just forgettable, but ultimately average and kind of harmless. So yeah, if you want to check it out, go ahead. But before I go, I want to go ahead and thank you all for watching this. If you enjoyed it, then please hit that like button. And if you want to stick around for my channel, then please hit that subscribe button. Love to have you. And if you want to stay up to date, please hit that little bell notification icon. And before I go, I want to mention that there's been a lot of crazy things happening. Carson Geek has now left as my editor, and I am moving out of my house and neighborhood. So this will be the last time that you see me. It's been very emotional, and it's been taking a lot out of me, which is why I haven't been able to get as many videos up as I want. But I do have videos coming towards the end of this month, and I'm going to try and work on more videos once I get settled into my new house. So I want to thank you all so much for just supporting me in my old new room. I guess I could say old. And just thank you all for being so patient with me, and I promise you that I will come back stronger than ever once I get everything set up. So please have patience. So with all of that being said, thank you so much. And until then, I'll go ahead and sign off and see you for the next one. This is the Jedi Bender saying, be here, my friends. Good night, everybody.